This is Discovery, a program where you can discover the meaning and the message of the Bible. Hello and welcome to the program once again. Last time on Discovery, we began a series looking at the Old Testament book of Daniel. This time, we come to chapter 2 of the book, and we have an amazing history lesson. It's amazing because it's history revealed before it happened. Here's Derek Lindley to explain.
Oriental despots were notoriously temperamental and unpredictable, and Nebuchadnezzar was no exception. Chapter 2 in Daniel opens with the tyrant Nebuchadnezzar in a violent temper due to insomnia and a recurring dream. The dictator was seen as a god by his people, but he's a god who can't sleep. His collection of mystics, enchanters, magicians, sorcerers, and astrologers are clueless to help him. This think tank can't tell him what the dream means, because he won't tell them what the dream was. The king, furious now, ordered the execution of all the wise men in Babylon. Perhaps he suspected they were inventing interpretations, and if they were really smart, they would be able to relate his dream. Arioch, the commander of the king's secret service, informed Daniel that his name was on the death list, and so Daniel, acting with wisdom and tact, went to the king to ask for time to interpret the dream. Confronted with a crisis, Daniel's first instinct was to take it to the Lord in prayer. Returning to his house, he urged Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to plead for mercy from the God of heaven concerning this mystery. Verse 18. During the night, the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. Verse 19. God not only gave Daniel wisdom, but courage and power to act. This young prophet, an exile in a foreign land, under the threat of death from an angry king, modelled prayer. He praises God who reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. You have made known to us the dream of the king. Verses 22 to 23. God has communicated to a pagan king future events in his life and in the life of the world. Arioch presents Daniel to the king, and Daniel declares, "No wise man can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about, but there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come." Verses 27 to 28. The dream that so agitated Nebuchadnezzar was of an enormous, dazzling, multimetallic image, and Daniel interprets its significance. The statue's head of pure gold represented Babylon and its king Nebuchadnezzar. Its chest and arms of silver stood for the Medo-Persian Empire under Darius that would come next. Later, Darius the Mede required conquered nations to pay tribute in silver. The belly and thighs of bronze represented Greece under Alexander the Great. Alexander extended his rule to India and vanquished the Persian Empire. Greek soldiers used shields made of bronze. The legs of iron and feet, partly of iron and partly of baked clay, signified the Roman Empire. Some think the feet could represent Western civilization. A rock was cut out, not by human hands, and it struck the statue on its feet and smashed them. The rock became a huge mountain, filling the whole earth. It's worth remembering that Babylon was the first great world empire. Egypt had been self-contained and never became a world empire. Let's consider this troubling dream. The metals deteriorate in value from head to foot, so the structure is entirely unstable and destined for a fall. It was top-heavy. The atomic weight of gold is 10 times that of clay, and silver is 5 times heavier than clay. One rock brings down this giant statue, and its impact pulverizes the entire structure. Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 7 says that Babylon is a gold cup in the Lord's hand. Nebuchadnezzar is that head of gold to whom the God of heaven has given dominion and power and might and glory. Verse 37. After Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon, another kingdom will rise inferior to yours. Verse 39, said Daniel. Then a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth, and then a fourth. More attention is directed to the fourth kingdom than to the other 3 put together. The fourth kingdom will be strong as iron, but a divided kingdom. The people will be a mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. Verse 43. One stone brings down this giant statue, even as David felled Goliath. Its impact pulverizes the entire structure. That stone is Christ, whose kingdom will endure forever. It will never be destroyed. Over 14 times in Scripture, Jesus is referred to as the stone. See Isaiah chapter 28, verse 16. Daniel asserts, the great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. Verse 45. Nebuchadnezzar was a deeply disturbed man, a threatening, unpredictable figure, but now massively relieved. The king fell prostrate before his servant Daniel and honoured him. Daniel becomes the most powerful man in the empire and honours his prayer partners by asking Nebuchadnezzar to appoint them administrators over the province of Babylon. Verse 49. Daniel remains at the royal court as God's special light to the Gentiles. In the book of Daniel, from chapter 2 verse 4 to chapter 7 verse 28, God is addressing the world, and so it is written in the diplomatic language of the day, Aramaic. Here's the miracle of prophecy. This statue dream, indicating the transfer of the world's power from the Jews to the Gentile rulers, was made when Persia was a Babylonian vassal state, the Greeks were a group of warring tribes, and Rome was a village. Next time we go into chapter 3 of Daniel. Warren Wiersbe summarises chapter 3 with these words: true faith confronts the challenge, confesses the Lord, confounds the enemy, and confirms the promise. Be sure to listen.
Thank you for being with us today. Do join us next time. Until then, we leave you with this thought from today's talk.
God not only gave Daniel wisdom, but courage and power to act. This young prophet, an exile in a foreign land, under the threat of death from an angry king, modelled prayer. He praises God who reveals deep and hidden things.